from RNG, but I understand what they're looking to do with that. Champions like Caitlyn can get a little bit ruined with a Braum there.
As Bard is going to be that final ban coming out from the RNG lineup. They do not want 2 of Mako's champions to be banned here today, and that's 3 bans towards the bottom side of the map against EDG.
What a world.
And they have to ban Vlad here for EDG, so there are so many options available. I'd go Azir. No, yeah, lock that straight in.
Vladimir being banned away means Azir is left up and available for Xiaohu to take in this game. Let's see if he is going to be able to lock that one in. But still a lot of very strong champions. You know, Rek'Sai comes to mind. We see the Kindred as well still being left up on the table right now.
Yeah, all 3 jungle priorities up and available, depending on what course of action you want to go. And this just goes back to this idea that EDG, they're so multi-dimensional as a team that they don't have to go back to that staple standard of what we saw in Game 1. They can completely go a different direction and still find vast amounts of success.
Well, let's see what RNG do. Lock in for their first pick here. Like we mentioned earlier, so many very strong picks left up and available, not just in terms of what LPL teams will be picking right now, but also in the terms of the fact that it is 6.11 in terms of patch here. Rek'Sai is going to be that first lock-in for the RNG lineup.
So knowing that Rek'Sai has been locked in first now, it's pretty safe to say that you don't want to give that to Clearlove in any situation. What they will, however, give over is a previous ban from game number 1 and Scout's best champion.
So Sivir and Azir are going to be locked in here for the EDG lineup. The Shurima combo coming out for EDG.
And we've talked about at length how these 2 champions really work together for that long reach. Something that EDG have started to show as a trend through their course of the LPL games are these kite back compositions. Now, naturally, Sivir is there to make people run forward. Azir, he goes in as well. But EDG, they'll kind of show their hand with these next 2 picks if they're going forward or kiting back. But typically, it's been kind of kite back.
Well, RNG are going to lock in the same bottom lane that they played in that previous game. Uzi and Mata are going to be playing the Caitlyn and the Karma coming into this match.
Deep down, I just want this.
I want it too.
Gragas and Annie.
Mako to lock in his Annie. That's what everyone wants ever.
I just want to see Annie.
Mako's Annie. Again, though, Karma being picked up as an answer to Sivir. Uzi, round 2 on its Caitlyn, his legacy champion.
Well, they're hovering over Gragas now. They do lock that in as well as the Trundle.
So we saw the Annie hover. I made the joke, oh, it looks like they're going to rush forward, but there we go. We have the Trundle there. It could be played in the top lane, could be flexed down to Mako, but primarily there it's a secondary support wherever it goes, even if Mouse does pick it up, and it's there for disengage. So again, it's this very kite back composition with the ability to reset a team fight or to pick someone out with Clearlove's Gragas.
Yeah, and historically they've always used that Sivir to great effect, whether it's just pressing the R key and going to farmer lane whilst your team kills things around you, something that EDG have done in the past, or it's utilizing deft with it. There's definitely a lot of forward motion available for a team that is multi-purposed and very much EDG.
Well, let's see what EDG are going to be able to do with that, because Gragas being locked in here, Graves, Kindred still left up on the table, deciding to not to go with those jungles, instead going for Gragas instead.
Okay, so the Swain is there, but a problem that I already foresee in ROG's composition is other than the augment mobility with Karma as well as backline unburrow from Rek'Sai, they don't have a lot of tools to actually engage on EDG's comp. Yes, we're on 6.11 and Azir's ultimate has been changed for its duration that it's actually standing, but you're still dealing with Trundle, with Nami now, with Sivir, with Gragas. It's going to be so hard for RNG if they ever do get ahead, if they ever are in an advantageous situation, to say we need to fight here and now.
So Swain and Victor were those final 2 lock-ins for the RNG lineup, whereas Maker has locked himself in a Nami for the second game for EDG up against RNG.
Yeah, once again, the forward or back motion, both entirely capable here from EDG. It's going to be hard to kill a Sivir or Nami. Not easy to kill a Trundle ever anyway. And that Azir ultimate that is a little bit nerfed can still work effectively against Looper on his Swain if they actually break out into a team fight, as well as MLXG. So that front line gets bottlenecked a little bit. I quite like how both of these teams have now matched against each other. There's a little bit more strength from RNG early. The same old EDG, however.
So let's see if EDG, using a similar team comp from Game 1, are able to go up and do the same thing they did against RNG in Game 1.
Should be noted, though, that it's really important to find standard lanes for RNG here. They need that Swain to get ahead, and he does have a favorable matchup against this Trundle.
Well, let's see if Lupa can do that as he takes on Mouse here in Game number 1. We saw Mouse, game number 2, sorry. Saw Mouse in Game 1 get ahead by about 40 CS, but Game number 2 might tell a different story as we head into the second match between RNG and EDG. Ladies and gentlemen, we have loaded on to Summoner's Rift for game number 2 between RNG and EDG. You know, EDG, but they were able to take down game number 1, sorry. Let's see if RNG can strike back here in this best-of-3 series.
Should be noted that, again, it is going to be a Swain on the board, which means that, what is it called, Mortal Reminder, is that much more important in Death's itemization because they do not have an Ignite available to deal with that healing should Looper get ahead. Again, deep vision being set up by RNG. It's very important for them that they get standard lanes so the Swain can get the more favorable matchup.
One of the cool things that a Sivir provides as well whilst you go towards the Mortal Reminder, not only does he have Warlord's Bloodlust for early lifesteal so that he can itemize immediately towards it, he also has the ability to hit the back line whilst hitting the front line, and Mortal Reminder should always actually be applied onto Swain because of that auto attack on hit.
Well, Warlord's Bloodlust also being picked up here by Uzi in this game. We saw him go for the further battle in that last game on Caitlyn. He's opting to switch it up to get a little bit more lifesteal here in game number 2.
So if you've never seen the Trundle versus Swain matchup, it kind of works like this. Trundle is a melee champion, Swain is a ranged champion. He's going to punch him in the face every time he wants to take CS. He's going to push him under his tower, and he's going to use his 2 damage over time abilities underneath the tower to make his life a living hell.
So bad news bears for Trundle, basically.
That's birds. Actually.
Bad
There's no
news
bears
birds.
on Swain, to be honest with you.
Well played, Rusty. It does, however, open up Looper to gank threat and gank pressure. So we'll see if MLXG will prioritize Scuttle Crab on that side to give him some early vision, or if Clearlove's even going to bother with it.
Meanwhile, there's been a little bit of scuffling going on in the mid lane. And this train's going back and forth between Xiaohu and Scout. We take a look at the bottom lane quickly. Uzi and Mata did a camp at level 1 here. So Uzi hits level 2 first. Def still at level 1 with Mako, who decided not to go for the Gromp pickup early.
Unfortunately, Caitlyn's level 2 doesn't really mean that much.
It means a little bit when Marta's straight zoning them, but you're right. As now they actually just should not be there, RNG, because only one of them got the experience from that camp.
Mako and Def do hit level 2 by pushing a little bit quicker than the Uzi and Mato combo down in the bottom lane. Xiaohu and Scout still duking out in the mid lane. This has been a relatively even match from game number 1 and probably will be coming into game number 2 as well.
MXG not prioritizing top Rift Scuttler, but instead going for bottom. Started on the top side of the map, did not take his blue buff, so prioritizing giving his bottom lane advantage to push by securing that vision.
He's already mid, though. But I was going to say the reason that he's on this bottom side putting that priority there is because there's an Infernal Drake on the board that teams do love so dearly and may want to fight for. At the very least, they'll have vision and control of it.
In particular, RNG as well. Obviously, there's some RNG available. Hold on, though.
Wow, this is an interesting game coming up from LXG. They're trying to lock down Def. They're out able to pick up first blood going on over towards Mata.
Now, naturally, you would like that to be on your AD carrier or your jungler, but still, message received. We lost the bot lane this time around. Let's change our fortune.
And it's not just the first blood going on over towards RNG's bottom side, but also there's a nice CS deficit already being built up by Uzi here. He's 11 CS, or was 11 CS, ahead of Deft.
That means you now have 2 winning lanes, one organically on the top side. Check up on this Swain. This is exactly where he wants to be. We don't see the CS discrepancy yet, but knowing where Clearlove is, it gives him free reign to continue to push, and now Uzi and Mata are also ahead.
You can already see the gold difference between the AD carries right now. Uzi is about 500 gold ahead of Deft this early into the game. Also has an experience advantage, being a level 3 to the level 2 of Sivir right now.
And honestly, that was a little bit sloppy from EDG. Clearlove was on the bottom side of the map, and they saw the Rek'Sai poke his head out mid lane, but still they got dove for it. And frankly, not even dove. They were pushed a little bit far up, trying to fight and body that 2v2. They pay for it.
Nice move coming out from Mako. Does pull the mini wave down the bottom side, so it pushes towards the EDG side of the map.
The SOFM special right there. MLXG again looking for a very quick gank and priority to the bot side. Denies his, or doesn't take his initial blue buff. Has now given it back over to Xiaohu, so a very early blue to Victor.
We can take a look at the top side of the map now as Looper already being a little bit of a bully towards Mouse up in the top lane. Able to push him out of the lane very early and find a small CS deficit for himself. It's about 10 CS ahead of the Trundle right now as the wave will crash towards his turret shortly.
More importantly, it does force out the teleport, which now gives Looper the option that he can freely use his TP should he want to, or he could possibly throw it in and just try to walk back to lane and compensate that for later.
At this point, we actually just need to look at Clearlove and say that he needs to start trying to get something done. He is on an early pressure jungler in Gragas that can combat MLXG. We know that Clearlove is always farm inclined, however. We are seeing almost a slight necessity for him to show his presence on the map soon.
And that's the key thing, is that Clearlove does like to be farm-oriented. He's more counter-gank-oriented as well, whereas MLXG is much more proactive in setting the pace on aggression for lanes. Clearlove is very good at shadowing underneath, and if I need to, I'll show up. If not, these wolves are mine.
We can already see that being impacted on the map in different ways right now. Clearlove, better CS in comparison to MLXG, has an experience advantage as well, whereas MLXG was able to pick up that very early aggressive first blood for the RNG lineup.
That's cute.
He's going to be able to spot out one ward in the bottom lane. We'll probably spot out the second, but doesn't have enough time to clear it out. Sorry.
He didn't spot the second at all. So the way it worked is there was a pink ward that procced the Raptor sense, as well as that ward being there, and he went straight into the bush because that's what he expected to be. He found one ward, didn't assume there was another.
So still has some vision down in the bottom lane for RNG's lineup. Mako and Def only able to push out the wave and immediately head back to base here. And use Clearlove's health to do just that. MLXG actually going to tunnel over the wall here and find Clearlove. Tries to go one-on-one against him. This Krug is going to get smited away by Clearlove and just simply body slams over the wall there.
Does get the best case scenario by getting his camp and walking away. Obviously didn't have his bot lane available to him, so couldn't look for a skirmish there.
And already take a look up at the top side. Mouse, once again, not having a good time at the moment.
He's getting some assistance, though. Deft and Mako are on their way up, and Swain, if he's overextended, could be caught out, should be spotted by the pink ward.
Well, Mako is going to walk on over towards the tri-brush and will get spotted out there. Deft and Mako take that one away. They're still going to look to try and take down the Swain here.
Does have flash.
There goes the pillar coming down. Looper going to get slowed down and blocked off away by this pillar. He's been exhausted as well. Lots of damage coming down. The bubble used a little bit too aggressively there, predicting the flash from Looper. Doesn't come out. He's able to use that later on, escapes the gate.
It's kind of best case scenario, though. Yes, you're predicting the flash, but it also means that Looper kind of has to hold his flash in that instance.
You can actually see the immediate response coming out for the RNG lineup. They send Uzi and Mata straight up towards the top lane. They want this 2-on-2 matchup.
And every time they get there, they'll get extra farm. EDG on the flip side are avoiding it intentionally. So they walk top lane, they get a nice gank. We'll see how they play this one out now, because RNG, they can't afford to continue swapping.
So what they then traded, as Rusty was saying, is just farm for Uzi versus the flash on Looper. So Mouse has a little bit more pressure, but Deft and Mako are still in a very deep hole.
Yeah, that hole is just going further and further here. As Uzi's almost 30 CS up ahead of Deft right now. He's 2 levels over this Silver as well. So a really good start for the RNG lineup.
Just gone from bad to worse, and this is standard laning phase that's completely gone awry.
Deft and Mako actually not opting to go down into the bottom lane. Instead, they move up towards the top side of the map to match the 2-on-2 instead. Which sounds rather dangerous here, being a level behind and about 30 CS behind the opposite AD carry.
I think it's because Mouse was already in that bottom side or heading that direction, didn't have his teleport available, so EDG kind of caught out with a bit of a position error. Especially because that's an Infernal Drake in the bottom. You'd think that they'd want priority of their number advantage to bot side.
And they're actually not too far behind in items, just levels. So that level 5 to 6 definitely hurts them. But as far as damage is concerned, if they play it right, catch up in experience, they're actually fine right now. Ideally, they get a gank up here, though. Otherwise, they're just going to be in trouble and lose this turret slowly but surely.
Uzi Amato getting some good work down in terms of poking out Deft and Mako, as well as putting some good damage down towards the top side in the turret.
And here comes that
below
gank.
half its health.
So Shahu and MLXG are starting to push onto their strong side of the map. Not only does this offer protection to Uzi and Mata to continue to be extended and aggressive towards Deft and Mako, but could open them up to slide up to that top side as we see MLXG sneaking up.
Yeah, so they won't see him. But Clearlove has to be here because they know that they were topside. And it's wasting time potentially from the EDG jungler. It also gives a safety point once again to that bottom lane, where Looper knows that he's in a 1v1 confidently and can continue to harass and push out Mouse.
You can see CS deficits growing actually across the rest of the map as well. As we take a look towards bottom lane, Looper already has a 20 CS lead in that matchup. Even the mid lane going in favor of Xiaohu right now, who is 10 to 15 CS up ahead of Scout. So RNG just from CS Deficits and that 1 kill alone, are about 2,000 gold ahead of EDG.
And historically, this is how RNG win and where they're strong. They just kind of organically and passively win their lanes through their ability to CS. Yes, there was the early gank that put Uzi and Mata in the driver's seat, but everywhere else, it's just RNG playing another day in the office.
Let's see what their next move is going to be here, because, like I mentioned, do have a gold advantage. No turrets or objectives being taken down just yet. That Infernal Dragon has not been so much as looked at from either of these two junglers yet.
But they don't need to. If RNG are just going to sit here for another 10 minutes and this league continues to expand throughout that 10 minutes, they'll be too far ahead just from laning phase. I think they're the ones who don't have to really do anything, just take free advantages, take free objectives when you can.
Which is exactly why MLXG, since it's just a free objective, is just going to go ahead and keep his laners there, continue to apply the pressure, but take what's free.
Let's see how EDG are going to try and respond to this, because for now, they're just slowly losing this game to the RNG lineup, and it's not really much that they can do right now, it seems.
Yeah.
Infernal Dragon will fawn over towards RNG's side of the map as she takes the one away. And another Infernal Drake will be coming up.
It does now beg the question of what does the mid game and the late game look like for these two compositions, and what are their win conditions and how they need to execute them. So for RNG's comp, they can initiate straight into siege. So Swain continues to be ahead. He's always going to be this massive problem that they'll have to deal with, as I say that.
Trying to take down Xiao, who is flashing straight back
TP.
over the ultimate. Scout's gonna get
is
jumped on. There's the ultimate coming out from the Chaos Storm. Locks down Cluelove as well. And that's 2 more kills going on over towards MLXG.
Bad news bears for EDG. It's from bad to worse.
Yeah, they cannot catch a break, and you can see it even through Scout wanting to be the initiator. Xiao plays towards his strong side of the map, because even Marta makes his way in by the end of this. The turret almost picked up Xiao, I will say. But just too many people here way too quickly, and RNG, between game 1 and 2, they had their power raid in that 3-minute break.
And it's already a 4,000 goal lead for RNG, looking to try and do the exact same thing that EDG did to them in game number 1.
And exactly, it's the fact that their top laner is also going to be a big power point that they're going to be able to play around. So Swain, if he's in just kind of a group fight, like he's able to get into the middle of them, he's fine, but it's still very hard to engage on EDG's comp. They have so many disengage options and tools. So RNG are doing a good job because they're winning 1v1 individually. As we break out more into kind of the 5v5 and these towers start falling down, it's about Looper continually being obnoxious in these side lanes, drawing pressure, and then RNG continuing to skirmish.
Well, let's see if they're going to be able to continue doing just that.
Right now they're in full siege mode. Caitlyn, Karma, Victor, they're ready for it.
They're going to send Caitlyn and Karma down towards the bottom side of the map now after taking down the top lane turret from EDG. That was just slowly chipping away the turret with a stronger lane. You can already see the items that are being picked up so far. Caitlyn went back, picked up the Berserker Greaves as well as the Zeal and the pickaxe to boot, whereas we can see Siva still looking for the components of that Essence Reaper.
Priority on the attack speed.
And this turret is going to fall down here. Uzi able to pick up the second turret for his team, tries to deny as much CS as possible.
Historically, from here, RNG would look towards a Rift Herald, although they're actually caught out.
Teleport's going to be coming in. Here comes Clulo as well, looking to try and find that body slammer. Flash forward, comes in for the tidal wave. Oh, the ultimate coming out from Clulo is going to knock them backwards. Mata still not going to be able to fall down here as Mouse takes a lot of damage in return. RNG might try and counter this one out and go for a counter engage, but still Uzi and Mata get out there alive.
Actually, a big miscommunication from EDG. You saw Deft and Clearlove pulled off of that engage when Mata was actually caught out by the pillar as well as the bubble. If they had been in position, possibly could have picked up a revenge kill. And speaking of revenge kills,
MLXG looking to try and take down Mako, and Deft bubble comes out, gets
Nice
both
bubble.
Uzi and Mata to try and lock them down. Mako still does get locked down, takes a lot of damage. Deft moving forward, trying to take down Mato, who's going to get body slammed here by Clearlove. The final attack is going to be enough. MLXG now in a sticky situation. The Scout knocks back the Victor. Xiao who puts down the ultimate there, trying to do so much damage to EDG's backline. Uzi finds one. Xiao is going to find the second and also takes down Cluelove. That's 2 kills for the Victor. The third kill will go over towards Uzi, who picks up another double. And RNG trade that 2 for 4.
and Uzi was the janitorial AD carry right there, picking up pretty much all of his kills with headshots. But Xiao, who did so much work on the back half of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with EDG turning that back around, it looked like it was going back in their direction. Uzi does rock up at the right time with all of his damage. The boots actually being very important for catching them here. Who's time and again can catch up with them, no worries.
Yeah, I just love the setup from Xiaohu to get that Chaos Storm laser across multiple opponents. And like you said, having the boots, having a nice Q from Caitlyn.
Yeah, well communicated from RNG to get him back into the fight as well. I think just individually and as a team, RNG look leaps and bounds above what they were in game number 1.
An immediate response from EDG. Check out that inventory. Pink ward, pink ward, pink ward, pink ward. Dragon will be spawning in 1 minute 43 seconds, but they've fallen significantly behind in gold. I think most of these wards are going to have to be used defensively just to clear out their own jungle so they can safely farm.
Oh, Scout getting locked down underneath his turret by MLXG. Tries to get out of there, but Uzi just does so much damage to Azir right now. That's another pick for RNG.
But Scout needs to think that that's going to happen again. Mid is the last setting outer tower. You need to clear the Azir away because he's going to be the primary wave clear. So he should have been a bit more cautious there, have wards on his flanks.
I wouldn't actually blame him for that because he just got dove. I would actually blame the rest of EDG for not being there earlier. With 5 pink wards in their inventory, not one of them placed, still nobody there to actually help Scout in the first place. So they will get this next turret, and that is an easy take, gifted to them once again by EDG being passive, just wanting to try and farm.
Night and day from last game.
Gives them an 8,000 gold lead here against the EDG lineup. And this is like deja vu. I feel like we saw this in game number 1 from Blue side, just different teams playing on that side of the map now. RNG very commanding here against EDG. The draft has just completely changed things in their favor right now in the early game. They played a lot better by RNG's roster.
Got the standard lanes that they wanted without any sort of jungle interference. MLXG being the proactive member. Again, if you think about it, Clearlove is known as kind of the farm counter gank jungler. First game was tipped the scales because Clearlove got an excellent counter gank on a dive. Second game, the proactive aggressive jungler gets it done bottom.
For now, though, they're very content with just farming it up and pushing out waves as the next dragon is going to respawn here. It's going to be a second Infernal Drake. You'd like to think that RNG would want to try and take this one down to start stacking up their power in team fights here against EDG. And it's already been started by Uzi and Xiaohu.
I mean, you'd like to think that EDG can contest this one also, but they really cannot. They've got no ability to move around on the map. I think all of those pings they placed were basically killed immediately through RNG's advances. Oh no, they're defensive as crap. There you go.
They're pretty much using it to just clear out the
jungle. To
jungle.
not get dove in their second turrets, really.
Yep. So that is going to be second Infernal. That's 16% bonus AD AP. Naturally, it's a scaling dragon, but I want you to take a look at Victor's items. Having the flat AP from the needlessly large rod, as well as the hex core there for him. He's actually really strong right now with that in particular.
RNG looking to try and take away EDG's red buff on their side of the map. Bubble's going to come out, doesn't get taken away by the Gragas. Instead, LMXG will be the one to pick it up. And we saw as well the Mountain Dragon is going to be the next dragon to spawn in this game. So definitely RNG for RNG right now.
And until further notice, neutral ground is at just RNG's ground. There is no such thing as neutral anymore. All EDG have left is defensive areas. And with these turrets starting to fall and getting chipped away at further and further, the Caitlyn is just an item spike away from starting a siege for the entire team.
And you see Rift Herald going to be taken down by the RNG roster there. Should be going over towards MLXG as well. So opting to take down every single objective on the map right now.
RNG have a very high Rift Herald priority. They 9 times out of 10 will give it over into their jungler. Obviously, it's still useful for junglers, especially if they want to be as skirmish focused or as 1v1 focused more correctly as MLXG.
This is not the kind of game we expected, honestly, for game 1 and 2 from both of these teams as well. Very one-sided affairs thus far.
It's kind of highlighting what both teams are really good at.
Yeah, well, also exploiting general weaknesses, it seems, on both sides. EDG, after that first game, you have to say, would be solid favorites coming into the second, but RNG turn it back around. They play to their own strengths, and they just win laning phase and start to snowball the rest of it.
So much pressure is on Scout to perform right now, simply because, again, Deft is behind. Yes, Sivir will have massive damage late game at 3 items, but you're still waiting for a very weak or a very long power trough.
You can see the auto attacks on MLG just tickling him there. Clearlove going to get locked down, takes a lot of damage, forced to flash out of there. Mako as well, just from one spell rotation coming out from the Swain, is forced to sit back and try and heal up as much as possible. The siege has been started here by RNG. Uzi putting all the traps down that he possibly can. Spell shield, going to remove one of them.
No, we called it an item spike away, and that's exactly what it is.
RNG not playing their side waves, though. They do have pressure on the bottom side. They don't need to continuously sit here unless they want to look for a very aggressive dive.
Well, they've got some good damage down towards this mid lane inner turret. You can actually see Xiaohu taking a lot of damage in return, put down that Chaos Storm that just whiffs everybody on EDG's side of the map.
You're still trying to farm into the likes of Sivir and Azir.
There's Clearlove looking to try to get the initiation on towards a Looper there, knocks it backwards, force the flash coming out from the Swain. As Scout now tries to put some damage in return on towards Mata.
Swain too tanky.
Yeah, I'm not sure. 5 people strong, a couple of ultimates burned just at an attempt at Swain. RNG have already consolidated those side lanes now.
Yeah, but this is really important because RNG had so much momentum behind them. They could have easily swung out to their side lanes, played a 1-3-1, 1-4-1, whatever iteration they wanted to. They did have their teleport available, and they chose not to. Instead, all of this momentum, all of this proactive play just pretty much hits the brick wall of Sivir and Azir. And yes, EDG didn't get the pick that they wanted to, expended a lot trying to get that Swain, but they at least consolidated their towers.
And it was timed well because RNG were already backing away, knowing they could get nothing further from this. Xiaohu not running teleport also on this Victor means that Caitlyn and Victor, whilst a strong presence as 2 people in a single lane will go, they are still going to be 2 farmers in a single lane. Xiaohu can't afford to stay in a side lane for too long. Neither can Scout, unless they're both sitting by themselves, in which case RNG still at favor because of Uzi being on that Caitlyn.
If you take stock of things, it's 8-2 in terms of kills taken here. 4 turrets to none, 2 dragons to none, and a 10,000 gold lead has opened up for RNG right now. Baron is up on the table and available to be taken. And it's the 3rd dragon of the game, which is going to be a mountain dragon. It's going to be spawning in about 1 minute and 30 seconds as well.
I mean, it's stall game for EDG. Again, they have the tools able to do that with Sivir and Azir. So RNG, how aggressive are they going to get? How fast are they going to go?
It gives us some time to take a look at the items very quickly as well. Swain has that Rod of Ages looking for the Zhonya's Hourglass. MLXG on Rek'Sai here, just very, very tanky with Randuin's and Cinderhawk and Sightstone picked up. Victor does have the Raya's Crystal Scepter and a slightly upgraded Hex Core. Looking for his Abyssal, it seems, as his next item.
They definitely want to kick this off now. They have complete control. They know that EDG have no vision. They've even got Mako recalling without any left. Thanks, Clearlove.
Uzi, though, again, losing a bit of RNG's momentum. Making his back, finishing up his last item. Not last item, but last item of his big power spike. So now he's got his 2 attack speed items as well as eye edge.
He's double the items of Uzi right now. He's sitting on his Essence Reaver and Zeal, whereas Uzi has 3 completed items already.
It kind of feels like deja vu from game number 1, just with the shoe on the other foot. This stage, RNG trying to bleed out. Whereas EDG, with this lead that they had, and around this time in game number 1, just started forcing things.
Still able to push them away from the jungle here one more time.
Speaking of.
As Uzi looking to try and take down the turret. Mako, though, has to flash away from the Chaos Storm. One more tick would have taken him down. Scout now with a good ultimate is able to stop them from getting any further forward, but Xiaohu flashes on top of it to try and get into the backlines towards EDG. They escape, but with really low health bars.
EDG do manage to get Sivir back in position, but with Clearlove backing away, they will give away inner mid.
Inner mid does get taken out. Uzi picks up that one for his team. Baron and Dragon are left up and available as well. RNG could definitely rotate to try and take down one of these major objectives.
Yeah, and they don't really need to look once again at the Drake. They know that the bigger priority lies with this big purple worm, and Baron being taken down would just unlock all of the potential in the world for them. EDG not really close enough just yet.
Mako looks like he wants to try and steal that with a tidal wave. Not going to happen. It does get smited out by LMXG. Clearlove was walking forward trying to get towards a bit, but it's not going to be enough. They find him. They take him down. Scout now has to try and do the Shroom Shuffle to get out of there. The Azir still trying to run away from Looper. Puts down another room. Not going to connect. There's an exhaust going down, but they still lock down this Azir. RNG find another kill for themselves and the Baron buff.
And they've got the creep wave behind them as well, so they're going to pick up where they left off and start sieging into this inhib. Deft is in position.
Yeah, Clearlove dead, Scout dead, a lot of their disengage gone, and the wave clear from a Sivir definitely lacking. RNG have all of the tools available to them to just continue pushing and get everything that they want.
The turret up in the top lane for the inhibitor falls down. The inhibitor is going to fall down shortly after as well. Pings are going down towards the mid lane inhibitor turret. Scout is still down here. He's going to be respawning the next 20 seconds. This inhibitor turret's going to take even more damage in the mid lane here. Mega does find a good bubble towards Mata. There's Mouse. And Cleared Up trying to do what they can to stop them from getting further and further in towards this base. That's already all of Mouse health bar just gone from poke damage coming out from the RNG lineup.
Siege continues. EDG do manage to force RNG off, so they only lose a single inhib in the top side. Should be good news should this look towards a second Baron attempt, but it means that they will give up the Dragon.
It's going to be the third Dragon of the game going on over towards RNG here. They are phenomenally ahead of EDG right now. 13,000 gold advantage as they pick up a Mountain Dragon for themselves, and the third and final Infernal Dragon will be the last dragon to spawn, or the next dragon to spawn, sorry, on Summoner's Rift. Not looking good for EDG right now.
No, not at all. This is absurdly large for RNG. You would imagine with their next push, they can make a big play. There's only 2 lanes left for them to attack. And Looper doesn't have his teleports. They need to play it cautiously. But with the lead that they have, caution can kind of just get thrown out the window, and brute force is always an option.
Their gold lead can pretty much compensate for any numbers disadvantage they have unless EDG play it perfectly.
And even the Zonias for Swain means that diving is always a consideration. There's a 5-man unit with how big Uzi is and the rest of the team being able to stand in front of him. Even without Xiaohu, for some reason, he's in the top lane. They can get things done.
Scout has to just run away from MLXG there, who almost was able to catch him out, get the knock up. This turret gonna fall down so quickly for RNG. Mouse just gets hit by one auto attack from Uzi and loses a quarter of his health. EDG desperately trying to defend this inhibitor turret. Baron up minions doing some work here against the turret as well as MLXG gets some decent damage down.
Just a one-sided affair from both teams right now. We do have a series on our hand, but I don't think anyone expected like this.
Not at all.
I was assuming more of a slugfest, just back and forth continuously, but RNG just clinical, oppressive smothering.
That's exactly what it sounds like EDG did in game number 1. As RNG find another turret for themselves, moving towards the final inhibitor turret of the game. EDG, they have to put up a fight here, it seems.
They have no choice, honestly. This is their last stand, but I don't even think they can put up a fight. The best they can do is throw out a tidal wave with a Sivir ultimate and hope that the keg is just one made of dreams. Well, those will be shattered pretty quickly.
They have to go now. They're running out of time.
That turret is going to fall down rather shortly here. EDG, they're looking to try and catch out Looper. He's being a pest inside the base of EDG.
Not
just
him.
runs around
Anyone but Looper.
the inhibitor.
They have 0 options for Looper. Again, because of how far Deft is behind, he doesn't have the Mortal Reminder. They have no way to stop Swain.
This turret's going to fall down if they push on towards it. One final push from RNG should be able to take it down. EDG, and they pull the trigger. There goes that tidal wave. Mako trying to find the fight they were looking for. Here's cleared up onto the backside. Going to put down the ultimate. Separates the team. But there goes the turret. It's fallen down. They've broken into the base one more time. RNG, they're going to look to try and take down EDG here. They take down Mouse. They find the first kill. Flashes forward coming out from all their members. The Nexus turrets are getting worked on by the RNG lineup now. They're going to be able to take them down. And without a fight coming out from EDG here, they're going to be able to take down the Nexus as well. Game 2 is going to go on over towards RNG.
And no one could deal with Looper. Death was so far behind, he effectively zoned off 4 people by just stepping forward underneath the tower, and Zhonya's in ultimate.
Wow. Took them a while. They were too busy trying to kill them under this spawn turret, but eventually RNG securing a 1-1 in this best of 3 in a very similar way to what EDG did in the first. A lot to be learnt from both of these games, from both of these teams respectively. I think moving towards a third, it feels like we're now playing a best of 1.
That was... We did not expect this. I think we said that time and time again during that game. 2 one-sided games. Game 1 going to EDG, Game 2 going to RNG. What changed? Because that's a very drastic shift coming out for RNG there.
Okay, so what's kind of interesting is that it was Uzi's lane that gets canked. I mean, no surprise there. MLXG prioritizing that, kind of using the SOFM pathing by ignoring blue buff, shortening his path and his time down to that bot lane. But it's Uzi who gets the goal. Technically, Mata gets the kill, but bot lane are ahead, and that's how RNG choose to abuse EDG. EDG, on the other hand, it was Mouse that was kind of the primary benefactor. Deft, of course, was on more of a utility AD carry. And yes, Mako and Deft were the primary playmakers, but they played around pressure that their top laner was able to get with that lead and opening up picks. So still two different, very different ways about how it got ahead, but both based on the jungler.
Yeah, and even realistically in the first game, it was a mistake from RNG that got EDG going this time around. MLXG has shored up those weaknesses and looks entirely different when we see him play the Rek'Sai opposed to the Graves. So early pressure, early gank-heavy champion seen from RNG's jungle position actually sets them up far greater.
And I think that's the key thing. I bet that MLXG and Clearlev, they're both going to go for very early gank-oriented junglers. I don't think we can continue to see the farm junglers because it's whoever pulls the trigger first seems to be winning.
Well, let's see what they're going to be able to do as we head into game number 3 shortly. We'll go into a quick break first, but don't go anywhere because in about 5 minutes we'll be back for the final game between RNG and EDG. Don't go anywhere.